there, soil slingers and tent tenders. Welcome back to Cannabliss with Tiff. Last time we talked about seedlings, those first little leaves called cotyledons, and watching your sprout find its footing. If you haven't caught that episode, hit pause and go give it a listen. It'll set you up beautifully for what we're diving into today. Because today we're stepping into one of the most exciting and crucial stages of the grow, veg. If seedling stage is babyhood, veg is your plant's wild, lanky, preteen years. This is when it builds structure, strength, and serious attitude. How you guide it now sets the tone for everything that comes later, especially yield, bud quality, and how smooth your flower run goes. In this episode, we're digging into what the vegetative stage is and when it starts, how and when to transplant, setting up the perfect veg environment, watering, feeding, and understanding pH, training techniques like topping, LST, and supercropping, how to defoliate without stressing your plant, pests, problems, and how to troubleshoot, and how to know when your plant is ready to flip into flower. Whether this is your first grow or your 10th, I've packed this with details and definitions so even total beginners can follow along confidently. So let's get growing. You'll know your plant has entered veg when it has about 3 to 4 sets of true leaves, not counting the little round starter leaves, the cotyledons. Around this time, the plant picks up speed. You'll notice faster growth, stronger stems, and more leaf development. Veg is all about building, deeper roots, thicker stalks, and a fuller canopy. If you're growing indoors, this phase can be as short as 3 weeks. If you're growing outdoors or doing more advanced training, it might last several months. Important thing is, you get to decide how long your plant stays in veg based on the method of growing you pick. The longer you veg, the bigger your final plant can be. But keep in mind, a bigger plant means more upkeep, so it's all about finding the right balance for your grow style and space. Let's talk about transplanting. You'll know it's time to transplant if you see roots poking out of the drainage holes or circling the bottom of the pot. Another sign is if your plant seems like it's stalled out, meaning not putting out new leaves, or if it's stretching too tall without filling out. If the leaves look pale even though you're watering and giving enough light, the roots might be crowded. Before you transplant, give your plant some water a few hours ahead of time. Moist soil makes the root ball easier to remove. And when you're ready, hold the base of the plant gently, tip the pot upside down, and ease the root mass out. If the roots are really packed in tight, you can gently loosen the outer edge, but don't tear them up unless it's badly root bound. Have your new pot ready with pre-moistened soil. I personally like fabric pots because they let air into the root zone. When planting, bury the stem up to the first set of true leaves if your plant is a little leggy. Once it's transplanted, ease up on the light for a day or two. Either raise your light or dim it slightly. It's normal for the plant to pause for a bit while it settles into its new space. That's just part of the process. Now, let's move into dialing in the ideal environment for veg. Think of this phase like your plant's summer vacation. It wants warm, bright, and breezy. Aim for temperatures between 72 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit. That's about 21 and 29 degrees Celsius. Start with the humidity around 65 to 70%, then gradually lower it to about 50% as the plant matures. You want good airflow. Use an oscillating fan and proper exhaust to keep air moving and prevent mold or weak stems. For lighting, full spectrum white or blue dominant light works great during veg. Keep the fixture about 18 to 24 inches above the canopy, depending on your light type and intensity. A typical veg light schedule is 18 hours on, 6 hours off, and some growers push a little further with 20 hours on and 4 off. You don't need to spend a fortune on lighting. LED, CFLs, and ceramic metal halide lights can all work well in veg. It's more about placement and consistency than brand names. Next up is one of the biggest killers of plants during veg: improper watering. And you have heard me already probably talk about this if you've listened to previous episodes. But most plants die not from pests or poor light, but from being overwatered or watered at the wrong time. Always check the top inch of soil. If it's dry, go ahead and water. If it still feels moist, wait. You can also lift the pot. If it feels light, it's ready. Use room temperature water, somewhere between 65 and 75 degrees. If you're growing in soil, aim for a pH between 6.0 and 6.8. For coco coir or hydroponic setups, go for 5.5 to 6.2. Start feeding lightly once your plant is putting out new leaves regularly. Veg nutrients should be high in nitrogen. Look for ratios like 3:1:2 or 4:2:3. If you're in soil, go slow with the nutrients. If you're in coco or hydro, you can start feeding earlier, but use diluted nutrients at first. And if you're using bottled nutes, keep an eye on your EC or ppm so you don't overdo it. A healthy plant in veg should be vibrant green with perky leaves reaching up toward the light. If it's drooping, clawing, or turning yellow, something's off, and we'll troubleshoot that a little later. But first, let's talk about training. This is where veg gets really fun. Training helps shape your plant to take advantage of the light, increase airflow, and boost your final yield. One simple method is low stress training, or LST. Once your plant has 4 or 5 nodes, you can gently bend the main stem and tie it down so it grows horizontally. That opens up the canopy and gives more light to the future bud sites. Use soft plant ties, garden wire, or even pipe cleaners. Just don't snap the stems. You can also top the plant. This means cutting off the very tip of the main growth stem, usually just about the 4th or 5th node. The plant will respond by growing 2 new main branches in its place. Then there's super cropping, also called popping. This one sounds harsh, but it's a great way to strengthen branches. You gently pinch and bend a branch until you feel a soft crunch. That forms a little knuckle as it heals, which helps the plant redistribute energy and build stronger support. If you're ready to go beyond basic training, high-stress techniques like mainlining, fimming, and quadlining are powerful tools, and veg is the perfect time to try them. Mainlining is a method where you top the plant down to a single node and remove all growth below that point. From there, you let 2 symmetrical branches grow out and top them again, doubling the number of main colas each time. It creates a clean, organized structure with evenly spaced branches, and each cola gets equal energy from the roots. Fimming, spelled F-I-M, stands for fuck, I missed. It's like topping, but instead of cutting clean through the growth tip, you only snip about 80% of it. If done right, the plant will respond by growing out 3, 4, or even 5 new branches from that single cut. It's a little less predictable than topping, but often results in a very bushy plant with a lot of top growth. Quad lining takes things a step further. First, you top the plant to create 2 mains. Then you let those branches split again and top them too, giving you 4 main arms. You tie them down flat and prune off everything underneath, creating a wide, even canopy with excellent light coverage. It's like building a square base for the plant to bloom from. These methods are more advanced, and they do slow down growth while the plant recovers, but they set you up for a strong, efficient flower cycle later on. Just give your plant time to heal between steps, and avoid doing too many stressful things all at once. Now let's talk defoliation, or removing leaves during veg. Think of it like pruning a fruit tree. You're helping the plant use its energy more efficiently and improving airflow. Start by removing any large fan leaves that are blocking out lower growth. You can also clear out leaves that are touching the soil or getting bunched up in the center of the plant. Keep it light, check off about 10 to 20% of the leaves in a single session. You still want plenty of solar panels on the plant. In about a week before you flip to flower, do a final cleanup. Trim away weak lower branches that won't reach the canopy, open up the center, and check under leaves for pests. Let's troubleshoot a few common problems that happen during veg. If your leaves are drooping, it might be overwatering, or too much fan wind. If the bottom leaves are turning yellow and it's moving upward, you could have a nitrogen deficiency. If the tips of the leaves are clawing downward or curling up, you might be dealing with nutrient burn or high temperatures. If your plant is stretching too tall without filling out, your light might be too far away or too weak. And if you see brown spots, twisted leaves, or weird growth patterns, double check your pH and inspect for pests. Some common pests include fungus gnats, spider mites, and thrips. You can use sticky traps, neem oil, or introduce predatory bugs, Just avoid spraying too often in an indoor grow. So how do you know when you're ready to flip? The plant is healthy and has recovered from any training. You've got a flat, full canopy. The lower branches have been cleaned up, airflow is strong, and you have enough vertical space, because many strains will stretch 2 or 3 times their height once flower begins. And when you're ready, flip by changing your light cycle to 12 hours on and 12 hours off. Total darkness means just that. Even a tiny light leak can confuse the plant or stress it out. This is also the time to install your trellis net, stakes, or tomato cages, before the stretch begins and things start to get tangled. Here's the bottom line. Veg isn't just the waiting room for flower. It's the gym, the classroom, and the rehearsal stage all rolled into one. What you do in veg, how you transplant, feed, water, train, and prune directly affects your harvest later on. So take it slow. Top one plant, bend one branch. Try one new thing each time you grow, and build your skill from there. Veg is forgiving, and if you learn to read your plants here, they will reward you in flower. Next episode, we're flipping the switch. Literally. I'll walk you through the early flower stretch, bloom phase defoliation, bud support systems, environmental changes, and how to read your plant's cues as she starts stacking. Got questions? Tag me at cannabliss.podcast on Instagram or shoot me a DM. I'd love to hear how your veg is going and see your canopy pics. If this episode helped you feel more confident, share it, leave a review, or pass it on to a grower friend. The more we normalize growing our own medicine, the better. Until next time, bye!